Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello there, boys and ghouls. Welcome to another episode of Round the Clock Frights, and as you can tell, it's been a pretty emotional night for all of us. Real quick, let me just say that 2019 has been a pretty decent year for horror movies. We've seen some good ones together.
Okay, yeah.
We saw Brightburn, which is basically what would happen if Superman were evil. We saw the remake of Pet Sematary. We saw Happy Death Day to You, which was a slightly entertaining horror sci-fi comedy. We haven't really seen...
We've seen Us.
Yeah, we saw Us.
Crawl.
Yeah.
Crawl was pretty decent. It was fun.
We hadn't seen a movie that just got really under our skin and made us so angry that we pretty much wanted to give up on cinema altogether. But let me just say that watching 47 Meters Down Uncaged felt about as painful as getting eaten alive by sharks. Would you guys agree?
CGI sharks.
CGI sharks, that's
Yeah.
right. So real quick, a little bit of backstory. The two of us saw the first 47 Meters Down in theaters back in 2017, and we weren't very kind to it, were we?
No, not really. And not only that, we made comments about how this was the only movie who, the screen time is for the two lead female characters, who they're both lead female characters, is pretty much the entire movie, yet it still fails the Bechdel test. That's an accomplishment. The writing was terrible and the shooting was worse, and we just really, we were pretty critical.
Kim, did you see the first 47 Meters Down movie?
I did see the first 47 Meters Down.
What were your thoughts on the cinematic masterpiece?
Sorry.
I have to say it was like the opposite of what you guys thought of the first one, because...
Okay, real quick, I'll just state my thoughts on the first movie. Honestly, I thought the first movie was incredibly dull. I thought the premise right off the bat was pretty dumb because you have these two characters who are trapped in a shark cage for the majority of the movie, which gets old and predictable after a while. It's very difficult to create tension with a single location. Some movies have done it, like Danny Boyle's 127 Hours, the Tom Hanks movie Castaway, which the majority of it was set on this uninhabited island. But in the case of the first 47 Meters Down, first of all, the performances were not strong enough to...
Which is weird because Mandy Moore and Claire Holt.
Yeah.
Mandy Moore, you guys know from This Is Us
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of other things. I've always liked her. I always thought that she played really great characters. And Claire Holt is an Australian actress that most American audiences know as Rebecca Michelson from the originals.
And
again, another strong, character that packs a lot. She's pretty badass.
My final thoughts on the first 47 Meters Down. The writing was pretty poor and lazy, especially given the fact that these characters would constantly say out loud what they were thinking, or the director would treat his audience like idiots, so the characters would constantly say the most obvious things, like, I am so scared right now. And with that in mind, Kim, what were your thoughts on the first 47 Meters
After
Down?
we totally bashed it, it's okay if you do not agree with us.
We are open to honesty.
I mean, honestly, like, I get what you're coming from with the single location. There's only so much you can do with it. But with the first 47 Meters Down, I actually enjoyed it. I think it's because based on these shark movies and underwater, I guess this underwater scuba diving movies. I've only compared it to open water, which
Pretty terrible.
is a really boring, dull, terrible movie.
Now we can get into 47 Meters Down Uncaged, one of the most hotly anticipated sequels of the year.
No.
Guys, seriously, forget Frozen 2.
No.
Forget It Chapter 2. Those movies are child's play compared to 47 Meters Down 2. No, the Child's Play remake was a lot better than this. But right off the bat, something that I did appreciate...
There's a reason why we have alcohol.
Yes. I don't know about you guys, but from watching the trailers, at least what I appreciated was it seemed as if the director was trying to go in a different direction. He was trying to fit in more locations, or I should say, a slightly more interesting location, at least for a horror movie. The majority of the movie takes place in this underwater Mayan city where there are these incredibly cramped spaces where these girls are trying to swim through and navigate this maze of a ruin. And so yeah, the concept did look a little bit better than the first movie. And now we can get into why this movie just doesn't work and is arguably worse than the first movie.
Well, we can't say that, you're assuming that that's what we're going to say. We haven't talked about it yet. But, oh my God.
He's not far from wrong, right?
Not far from wrong.
No.
So Thor, tell us about like the beginning of this movie. Like, how does this movie start?
Okay, so basically you end up with two sisters, and again, it's about sisters, yay family ties, and apparently sisterly bonding has to happen with great whites. So if you're not getting along with your sister...
So, wait, doesn't that happen in every family? Like, you become stronger through traumatic events, like getting attacked by a great white shark?
I guess, but technically I just like to have lunch with my sisters instead of,
You don't like to go
fighting
on...
to the death with great whites.
You don't like to go on life-threatening adventures with your family members?
Not really.
Shameful dark.
Friends, maybe.
I would. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what family you were... I don't know what kind of family you're raised in, but me and Kim, we would always go on dangerous adventures with our families.
I could make so many comments right now about how I'm mixed and you two are totally white, and that's the reason why, but I'm going to pull back from that.
Me and Kim are the type of American tourists who would go to Europe and...
I'd totally go to that Eastern European spa that no one's ever heard about, including Yelp.
Yeah,
Because it's a deal and some hot chick asked you to?
Yeah, me and Kim will probably be the type of American tourists who get their asses butchered because, someone would offer us a tantalizing vacation inside this abandoned factory, which turns out to be a torture hostel.
Probably.
As they say, it's like, oh, well, we need to go explore this.
So basically you have these two sisters who are kind of estranged. They're stepsisters. Their parents basically just got married. You get the sense that, and one is played by...
Sylvester Stallone?
No.
Oh,
She was the other chick that... No. One's played by Jamie Foxx's daughter, who actually I think she has a lot of runway with her career. I actually liked her. And then the other one is played by somebody whose name I don't remember. Kind of shows you how awesome she was. And basically, the white sister is getting bullied, and the black sister's like, you know what? I don't know how to handle this.
Wait, can I stop you there real quick?
Sure.
I just want to say that the writing in this movie really anchored me to my core because we were talking about the movie Crawl that came out this year.
Oh, yeah.
We thought that the main character had an incredibly typical backstory. Man, compared to the characters in 47 Meters Down in Cage,
It was so unique.
the lead character in Crawl was incredibly unique and captivating because, our two main characters, paper-thin characterizations. They don't establish why the sister is getting bullied at school. I guess it's because
She's lame.
She's
I
lame,
thought
I
she was
guess.
just a nerd, and they were just like, oh, well, we don't like you, so we're just gonna bully you. That's
That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
So right off the bat,
Girls are evil.
Yeah, so right off the bat, these characters are thinly written. We don't really care about them that much. We don't get much character development.
Let's finish up with the plot, and then we can get into that kind of stuff, so that way we're not,
Well, I already went over the plot.
Anyway, so these two sisters go with one of the sisters' friends to a secret location. By the way, don't go somewhere and not tell anybody. And they end up swimming in this Mayan cave that the sister's dad had discovered. He's an archaeologist. And of course, they end up somehow releasing these sharks that proceeds to hunt them throughout the thing. Lots of great CGI, worse than Sharknado CGI ensues, and
That's
you
an
get
insult.
ripping.
That's an insult to Sharknado, especially Sharknado: The Fourth Awakens.
I know.
Sure as hell won't stay there.
San Francisco, Salt Lake, and Seattle, they were all attacked by a fire tornado.
So, huge problem. As I said earlier, our two lead characters are paper thin. They're not incredibly interesting. They meet up with two characters who have absolutely no personality, no layers whatsoever. They are basically props. One of them is played by Sylvester Stallone's daughter, and I swear to God, she was
She's
so
hot.
horrible.
Oh,
She's hot, at least. She looked good in a bikini.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought Sylvester Stallone's daughter was the main,
No.
one of the sisters.
No.
Well, not the, yeah.
You would think. But no, she was the one that got, that made this. Remember how I was saying that I predicted that at least one of the girls would make a stupid mistake that would cause them to get stranded and she would die afterwards? That was Sylvester Stallone's daughter. Although I do have to say, she did an amazing Hans Gruber.
Yes. So before we get into more of the problems we had with this movie, I just have to say, before seeing it, we were sitting in the lobby at the movie theater, and we were talking about things that we thought would occur in this movie. We were making predictions because between the three of us, we've seen a number of shark movies, ranging from Jaws, the Steven Spielberg masterpiece, to Sharknado.
Which was fun.
Yeah. So some of the predictions we came up with, and as stated at the beginning of the video, spoilers, one of the predictions that we made, there's going to be a scene where a character looks inside this dark hole and all of a sudden a decapitated head pops out.
A la Jaws.
Or it didn't even have to be a head, it could have been like a corpse, it could have been like a skeleton, and of course, what happens like in the middle of the movie, one of the girls comes across this character who had just gotten killed by a shark. His corpse pops out of her.
Well, it was definitely his head, but yeah.
His face is like half gone.
Mm-hmm. If you guys have ever seen
The Deep Blue Sea.
the cult classic Deep Blue Sea with Thomas Jane and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, so we totally predicted that one of the characters, like a father figure type character, because we didn't really know what the characters were. We knew the guy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding was going to be in this, so we predicted that he was either going to be a total creeper and get killed, and we were going to be like, woohoo! Or he was going to be the father figure, and they were going to pull a Samuel L. Jackson, where he's going to be all, we can make it, we're going to live, we're going to survive, and then chomp.
That prediction was a joke because we didn't think this movie would actually do it.
I did!
And of course, what happened to the end of the movie, there's a sequence where the dad character, who by the way, I thought was one of the Bridges brothers. I thought that was either Lloyd Bridges or Beau Bridges. I thought it was one of them. I didn't realize it was the guy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. So anyway, so there's a sequence where he is trying to save the girls by having them climb out of this hole.
Yeah, using basically it's like a belay line, but it's one of those things that you do like this to pull up.
And before I get into his death, let me just say that this was a terrible scene. First of all, they're in this opening, right? Like the entrance to this cave, and the walls surrounding them looked as if they were made out of foam. It looked incredibly cheap and fake.
So fake.
Did you notice that?
I did notice that. It didn't look right.
I couldn't focus on the characters. I was just looking at the goddamn background because it just looked so.
Oh my god, it was terrible.
So fake. So anyway.
About as fake as the sharks.
So anyway, one of the girls starts climbing up this rope, and we think that she's gonna make it out alive. But of course, the sharks follow them there.
Somehow, even though the sharks were established that they couldn't get through the narrow openings because they were, going and smashing into everything because they couldn't get through it.
Mm-hmm. So of course, the girls start to panic. Sylvester Stallone's daughter jumps onto the rope with this other girl. They're both struggling, and eventually she reaches the opening where there's like this boulder that she can grab onto. She almost makes it out alive, but of course the boulder detaches. And Kim, you should reenact what happens next when she's falling in slow motion. What did she look like? Yeah, she.
It was straight from Die Hard. It was a frame for frame.
As
you
Kim,
could overlay it.
Yeah, as Kim demonstrated, Sylvester Stallone's daughter is falling in dramatic slow motion.
Oh my god.
And of course, she falls into the water, gets devoured by 2 different sharks, which, by the way...
Why were they doing a death roll?
One of the sharks, has her in its jaws and performs like a death roll, like an
crocodile.
Like an alligator or a crocodile. Wrong species there, and...
Totally, they shake their head like a doggy with a
toy.
Yeah, when you're playing tug of war. Sharks shake their head from side to side.
I swear.
They don't do a death roll.
What, Kim?
But when the sharks were coming together, didn't they just tear her apart?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
don't know.
It was an over-the-top death sequence, and
Somehow their teeth got dull later on.
after that, Lloyd Bridges, I know that's not really accurate, the big fat Greek wedding guy, he's giving this rousing speech where they're going to make it out alive, they're going to make it to the ocean, and then, out of nowhere, he has his Samuel L. Jackson moment where a shark just comes up from the water,
And
swallows him whole, drags him underneath, and me and Kim both laughed our asses off.
I died.
We were seriously like, we can't believe that you called that.
Oh God, no! I saw that coming from a mile away. This thing has so many cliches in it, and the thing is that their cliches were done better in the originals that they stole them from.
But it's like, it seemed like every time, like you said, like you had the three guys. Every time it just seemed like they were getting rid. They had a solution. You knew something was gonna happen. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
no, you don't have a solution.
Heck, even the chick later on, she's like, "We're gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. I'm going to help you." And the second they got to where they needed to go, all of a sudden the shark popped out like a freaking Jack in the Box. Snatch.
And for the convenience of the plot, of course, the sharks swim away, leaving the three girls by themselves. And Kim, you said you had some predictions, and did the movie deliver on your expectations?
On a couple of them.
What were your predictions?
The first one would have to be the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I said I would be surprised if they didn't have a scene where the shark does his jumping out of the water.
Oh yeah.
As the girl is getting out of the
Jaws 4 shot.
Yeah, where you just have them jumping in the air and just grabbing one of them. And I was like,
Sharks don't behave that way. I know you guys like watching Shark Week, but they don't behave that way.
no, the other prediction I had was it was just gonna be one of those like typical. You have the two sisters, but then you have their friends that join. But like we said, you had three guys who were trying to basically help them out. But I had the prediction, it's like, no, it's just gonna have to be them that figures it out. You're not gonna have somebody that's gonna sit there and help them. It's gonna,
Yeah.
Yeah, to get back to the
second,
writing.
the second you had a guy swim up, he got eaten.
It's almost like the horror movies where it's like, oh look, a police officer. We know that police officer's not gonna help you.
They're dead
was
already,
Well, there
or
was-
they're going to die like really quickly.
There was a moment like that in Crawl where one of the male characters who had a crush on the main character shows up like at her house, and he is about to save her, gets eaten by an alligator.
Yeah, but that was entertaining and kind of funny.
Yes. So
They played this. The problem is that when Crawl did it, you could tell they were playing it for a jump scare, one, and two, because they thought it was fun. Sorry, excuse my language. They thought it was hilarious. This to me, it seemed like they were trying to play it seriously. Did you get that idea?
I did, yeah.
So what we're trying to say is that we were making predictions based off of things that we didn't think would actually happen.
Oh no,
But this movie delivered verbatim almost everything that we had predicted. It was insane. You know, how much it ripped off from the other shark movies, how it ripped off so many cliches, how this asshole director didn't have a single original thought when writing this dumpster fire, because, okay, let's get into the climax of this movie, and then we'll talk about the technical aspects, because I have some things to say.
I will say, I literally thought that was going to happen. I did not think that any of my predictions I was making in jest or tongue-in-cheek. I mean, the guy's writing and directing that you saw from the first one kind of spoke for itself. You realize that he wasn't bringing something new. He was always rehashing something that already had happened before. So he was completely unoriginal. So because of that, that's why I was like, no, he's going to have this moment in there.
So getting into the climax of this movie, after Beau Bridges' death, we're left with three of the girls, because Sylvester Stallone's daughter has been ripped in half at this point.
She's gone. She's dead. We're not seeing her again.
Sorry, Sly.
They
should have taught her better.
You should have put her in a better movie. So they come across.
Actually, I thought the actress had some charisma.
She barely had any lines.
I thought she was fun. She could. I mean, I wouldn't mind I'm not going to go out and buy a ticket because she's headlining in it. But, you know, she was a glorified extra in this movie. She rocked the small role that she had. You definitely got the idea of the character. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what you do. Now, I'm not saying she's going to get an Oscar for extras.
I think you've had too much to drink. I'm going to take this away from you before you get even more nonsensical. So, you have the main girl, and you have this chick, one of the no-personality chicks. They shimmy alongside this ledge, trying to get to this cave on the other side, which they finally do. The current conveniently pulls the main character away. The other character gets eaten by a shark who is like a whack-a-mole. He's just hiding in this cave waiting to pop out and strike.
Like I said,
It didn't really eat her yet, though, because he was chewing on the tank or had the tank in his mouth kind of thing.
And she got the brilliant idea of, let me take this all off.
Yeah.
Because I can totally, even though I don't know which way is up or, you know, I don't see the sun or anything, I'm just going to go ahead and take all this off. Even though drowning is supposedly, I don't know this for sure, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, supposedly the most painful way to die.
So the main girl is pulled to the bottom of this underground cavern where she meets up with her supposedly dead sister. They have their dramatic Blair Witch moment where they apologize to each other. They're both very teary-eyed. And then, of course, they escape the underground cavern. And Kim, do you want to describe how ludicrous and nonsensical the climax of this movie was?
Oh no, it was totally realistic.
I'm very disappointed with the ending of this.
Oh boy.
So you have the two sisters who are now swimming to the very top. They get to the top, break through the water. They see a boat. So now they're waving this boat down, trying to get the boat to basically come towards them. And then they start noticing a whole bunch of blood surrounding them.
Because there's this schmuck on the boat who is throwing chum out onto the water, creating this trail of blood to attract this pack of great white sharks. And he doesn't notice the girls swimming
towards him, waving at him,
waving their arms in the air because he has some goddamn AirPods in. He's a millennial, he always has to have his goddamn AirPods in. So anyway.
But the reason they're throwing the chum is because they have this whole tourist thing at the bottom. So they start swimming towards the boat. Then you see I'm trying to remember how that goes, where they both get basically pulled under. Mm-hmm. And then you see a whole bunch of the tourists inside this little
this glass viewing area.
Yeah,
glass bottom boat.
Yeah. So and then they at this point they see the girl. Well, they don't know who it is because now you got the one girl from the beginning of the movie.
The bully
that's almost trying to drown one of the sisters in the viewing, but she doesn't know who it is yet. She just sees these girls just basically swimming. Mm-hmm. They get back to the top. Now the people finally now see them at the top of the water. Now, okay, let's help them. So the one girl gets onto the boat while the other girl is actually halfway up the boat when the shark comes up, grabs her, pulls her under, basically has her middle torso in his mouth. The other girl goes, oh no, I gotta go save her. Goes over, gets the little flare gun.
At this point, the sister should have been chopped in half because that's what happened to Sylvester Stallone's daughter in a matter of seconds. But
like I said, no.
Anyway.
Their teeth got dull.
Anyway.
So she jumps back in the water. She goes down. The shark still got her sister in his mouth. She takes the flare gun, shoots the shark, and then they both
Gotta love the John Woo moment there.
Wasn't that another slow motion though? Yeah, I was like,
she's pointing the flare gun at the great white shark that has her sister.
Oh my gosh.
Fires it in slow motion. You see her poop face where she's just gritting her teeth looking to blow the shit out of this great white shark.
And then it just goes. But yeah, so they get back to the top. Now again, we got the girls trying to go to the boat. This time one of the sisters gets to the top, the opposite of the first time they get on. And then the other one doesn't even make it onto the boat when the shark comes over and grabs her and pulls her down.
Because that's how great whites acts.
Unlike the first movie, which basically ended with a dream sequence, no, that's it. That's the climax of the movie. They all live happily ever after.
They're over there cuddling each other, holding each other, saying, oh,
We skipped ahead. So the sister that just got pulled off, not even the boat, takes out a shark's tooth that her dad gave her and proceeds to stab the shark and cut it open
In slow motion again.
In slow motion.
Painful slow motion. The poop faces.
The whole 9 yards. And the shark lets her go instead of just,
And then we get to the end where they're sitting there on the boat, one half of her torso is ripped off.
And the other sister barely has
her leg.
she barely has a scratch on her.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're over there just holding each other while you got the... Unfortunately, we didn't get the scene where they pushed the bully into the water.
I know, I was waiting for that.
I was waiting for that because the timing would have been perfect because they show the bully character. She has a what have I done moment where she's almost looking into the camera. And then they have a reverse shot of the sister kind of glaring at her. And I swear to God, I thought it was going to end with the sisters pushing the bully overboard.
Or the shark jumping out of the water.
Oh, that would have been good. Yes! Standing too close to the edge, bitch.
As an aspiring filmmaker, I greatly appreciate the art of filmmaking. Let me just say that 47 Meters Down Uncaged was the perfect example of how not to direct a movie because, okay, right off the bat, you have the setting of this movie, which is an underground cavern. So the lighting is often very murky. You can barely tell which character is which because
they all sound the same.
They all sound the same. Either you can't see their faces or the director is too preoccupied showing other parts of their bodies. So you can't tell which character is which. And just the fact that the majority of this movie takes place in such a dark, dingy, ugly location.
There was better lighting in the Battle for Winterfell.
Game of Thrones Season 8, Battle of Winterfell had better lighting than this.
Yeah.
Triggered! But here's the thing. This kind of concept can be executed properly. There was a brilliant film in 2005, I believe, called The Descent, directed by Neil Marshall, about these women who go spelunking into this cave. They become trapped. And the majority of that movie is filmed inside this tight cavern, but the difference with that is it's not underwater.
Well, go ahead.
The characters in The Descent were much better established.
Yeah.
There was real conflict between them. They each had unique, fun personalities, whereas in this movie, the characters were just assholes. And the
I didn't see them as many as assholes, but I do agree with you as far as the shooting and the murkiness. The lighting was completely off. The silk was meant to increase tension, and it didn't. It just made it boring. And then the problem is that with The Descent, that was a really good movie. It used shadow and light very effectively. And if you've watched this channel before, you know how big of a fan I am of people using shadow and light properly. He tried to do The Descent underwater, and he did not have and a cast, crew, all that kind of stuff. I know making a movie is very, very hard. They did not have the requisite skill in order to do it. Sorry, guys.
This director also has a trademark, a very annoying trademark. In every single one of his movies, there is at least one sequence that is so illogical and bizarre, you end up wondering, what the flying fuck was he thinking? In The Strangers Pray at Night, there's a scene near the end where a character is getting chased by one of the killers. The killer's car is on fire. The killer gets out of the car, and his clothes are perfectly intact, not scorched at all. His clothes look as if they were just taken out of the dryer.
Okay,
And
there was not one scene in this movie that did that.
And in this movie, though, there is a very illogical scene, and it was the scene with the music. The music playing underwater. Because there's a scene where a diver is listening to music. He has an underwater speaker, and the music sounds as crystal clear as if you would just play it on the radio,
table,
on this table. It was insane. That doesn't happen. Physics. Fuck physics in this movie. This director...
Yeah, fuck biology too.
But this director has that trademark where in every single one of his movies, there's just something like that is so illogical. It's like, what was he thinking?
Yeah, I agree. I was actually thinking that too. But since you're on that topic about the speaker, the music.
Hey, I like my 80s jams.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind the first part of the music, like the part where they're all like jumping in the water. That was
The Calvin Klein ad, where they're all in their bikinis jumping into the water in slow motion. You see their boobs jiggling and then their butts wiggling.
Okay, if that's what you were looking at.
That's what the director was focused on. So, I know we've been talking about this movie for a while now, so we'll give you our overall thoughts. God, this movie sucked. I kind of appreciate how the director wanted to give us a better variety in the settings. But like I said earlier, it just made things worse because the lighting was just so dim and, God, the characters were either grating or one note. I thought this movie was worse than the first one, which I thought was an almost impossible feat. But he found a way.
He found it.
So 47 meters down, Uncaged. I would say out of 10, probably gets 4 from me.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Thor?
I did not like the first 47 meters down. I did not like this one. Now, I know I complain a lot about predictability, and the fact that I was able to guess pretty much the entire plot, including the surprise takes that were supposed to take us by shock. That's a problem. Now, especially with horror movies. Now, realize you go through like the first half hour before you even see a shark, and maybe like 40 minutes before there's even a death. So it's very draggy for not, if they use that time to really build relationships, really build a plot and a story around these two sisters, then I could appreciate it, but they didn't use that time wisely.
Kim?
I definitely would have to say this movie sucked. I like the first one. I'm gonna still say I like the first one.
Sorry.
But this one, no.
Just annoying.
It's annoying. Oh, just everything about it. Oh, and then like Thor said, the predictability. Usually when I pick a horror movie that I like, or I just don't want to be able to have to predict it. It's gotta be something that surprises me, jumps out. Oh, okay, this is different. It's not like the rest. Like, please just give us a shark movie that is not going to be predictable.
I do have to say that's going to be kind of hard, because what can you do with sharks that hasn't been done already and done masterfully?
Okay, then stop making shark movies now.
Except for Sharknado.
But thank you so much for joining us in our discussion of 47 meters down, the sharks strike back. I think that was the subtitle. Next week, you two are going to be reviewing Ready or Not, which looks like Clue mixed with Your
Murder.
Next. Well,
Yes.
Clue?
Yes, that
Your
is
Next.
actually good. Clue mixed with Your Next.
Yes.
I liked Your Next, and I liked
Your Next as well.
Yes.
Until then, guys, I hope you enjoyed the skit that we filmed for this video. We had a lot of fun making it. And until next time, have a scary night, boils and ghouls. Don't go into the water. And
If you do, watch out for CGI.
We will see.
And make sure to do a dramatic fall.
And with that, we will see you next time. Baby shark.
Do, 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 do.